Hello everybody, this is 3SP. I'm coming to you with another update, and I'm reading a portion of an article from the New York Times. The Federal Communications Commission voted on Thursday to dismantle rules regulating the businesses that connect consumers to the internet, granting broadband companies the power to potentially reshape Americans' online experiences. The agency scraped the so-called net neutrality regulations that prohibited broadband providers from blocking websites or charging for higher quality service or certain content. The federal government will also no longer regulate high-speed internet delivery as if it were a utility like phone service. The action reversed the agency's 2015 decision during the Obama administration to have stronger oversight over broadband providers as Americans have migrated to the internet for most communications. It reflected the view of the Trump administration and the new FCC chairman that unregulated business will eventually yield innovation to help the economy. It will take weeks for the repeal to go into effect, so consumers will not see any of the potential changes right away. But the political and legal fight started immediately. Numerous Democrats on Capitol Hill called for a bill that would reestablish the rules, and several Democratic state attorney generals, including Eric T. Snyderman of New York, said they would file a suit to stop the change. Now, one thing that this article isn't talking about is how the big tech giants are also lobbying to keep the current rules in place, and those tech giants are effectively Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and Twitter. And these are already the gatekeepers of most of the information on the internet. So one thing you have to see is, at least in my opinion, is if you already have the people that are in control of the internet wanting to fight these regulations, then I don't think it's being skewed by the media saying that this is an ability to create a two-tier system or to throttle information on certain websites. As we know before, what the fight for net neutrality was before they created the 2015 FCC regulation is that they didn't want the internet service providers to create a two-tier system where people who pay more money, companies that pay more money, will have a higher bandwidth version of the internet versus companies that don't pay into that fee will only have a slower band. What we've seen since the FCC started regulating the internet back in 2015 is that there's been massive censorship of opinions and political views that are contrary to the left or just contrary to the establishment period. I've experienced this where my channel's been shut down for a period of about 4 or 5 hours because of a video I put up. Now, and there's a lot of people, especially people on the right or people in the center, who put out videos and they say their videos are being pulled down, their whole channels are being pulled down, and even all of their Google accounts are ended for a period of time. So, and those are allowable in the current FCC regulations. And that did not happen, at least not in the frequency that it's happening now, until those 2015 regulations got in place. And I remember seeing an article when they passed it, I think it was from the New York Times, when they passed the proposal for the regulations, that the lawyers and the different people of the companies, the large Silicon Valley um, company leaders, they were actually dancing. They were celebrating for these regulations. So again, the people who were already in control of most of the information that's being passed through the internet, the gatekeepers, were the ones that were celebrating the most. And that's even when you start seeing the ad apocalypse happening on YouTube has been since these regulations. So again, I think it's already been validated just from the way things have moved on the internet since those regulations that it is a push for censorship. And then most of the tech giants also want to put us into a system similar to the firewall that China has on their entire internet. This would be a bad thing for the freedom of speech that we enjoy in the United States and in the West. And different countries, even like the UK, and pretty soon I bet you will be Canada, are experiencing these hate speech laws that if you say something that can be considered hate speech, even things that can be considered hate speech in the future that aren't now, can effectively have you arrested for just having opposing views that you express on Facebook or other social media sites like YouTube. This is crazy, and this is coming to a 1984 style George Orwellian dystopia. We do not want this. And with these regulations, how we see that different domain providers like GoDaddy started removing websites that are contrary to the current left-leaning bias, started getting removed. And now Google says that well, it's not now, but I think last year it was when Google said that they will be determining what is fake news or conspiracy theories, and they're going to regulate it, sandbox it, and remove it off of the internet. So what we're seeing that happened under these FCC regulations is that George Orwellian burning of information, where they take news, they take books, they'll X out certain characters and stories and change information so that their own information and story can be consistent as they provide it to the people. So we're seeing a modern day book burning because of this FCC regulation. And I've heard there's other things with the rollback that also add negative regulations to the internet. But the way it's currently going up until this rollback, in my opinion, it can't be worse. Well, it can be worse. The only way it could get worse is if it turns into the Chinese-style censorship, which it was already on a fast track to. So the best we could do right now is just see where it goes at this point. But where it was before the FCC regulations was a free and open internet, dominated by the people that had the best information and the best product, not a controlled narrative. And if you disagree, your dissent is shut down. So I like to see where this is going. Hopefully it gets better, but we know with any type of regulation, you could get the same effect in a different way. It would be terrible if it moved the other way, where left-leaning opinions and biases are shut down for right-leaning. That's something I would not support. I don't want to see a one-leaning, lopsided information internet. So my best advice is let's see where it goes, and we have to fight for the freedom of speech on the internet just like we have to in day-to-day life. And that's where I'm going to leave it. This is 3SP signing out.